All right, we're going to pick up right where we left off before we went to break. Back with me, Marcus Ferrell, Nina Turner, and Jason Johnson. All right, so let's talk about just these sort of issues that are facing, that you're hearing. I want to start with you, Jason. What are you hearing when you're going out and talking, particularly with women of color? Because there's another article posted today that I'm probably going to post to my Twitter in a bit about women in general and women of color being really freaked out by the idea of supporting a female candidate because they just aren't confident. And that's sort of an explanation as to why the Bs, the white guys, the Bidens, the Bernie Sanders, et cetera, the Betos are polling so much better than the Kamala Harrises and the Warrens, even though what I hear anecdotally is a lot more passion, particularly for those two candidates.
So when I'm out just talking to people who aren't in sort of the D.C. metro area, the three women who come up the most, it's Senator Harris, it's Senator Warren, and Stacey Abrams. Those are the people that black women and Latina women that I know talk about the most. And you're right, there is skepticism, but it's similar to skepticism about Barack Obama, right? A lot of people didn't believe that he had a chance until he actually beat Hillary. I have said all along that regardless of how African-American women feel, it's probably going to end up being a white guy. But the success of these women so far, especially with Warren, and we've been seeing this a lot, is that Elizabeth Warren, yes, she is not a woman of color, but what she's been able to do is she speaks with passion and she speaks with enthusiasm. And for sophisticated black women voters, and we've had to be, women have had to be sophisticated voters, black people had to be sophisticated voters. If we can't get somebody brown or black in that position, we at least want somebody who will listen. So that's why Warren has done well. I think in some respects, she has a higher ceiling than Senator Harris because she doesn't have the baggage of criminal justice in her background. And that's going to play out. And one last thing is really key. The largest group of minorities in Iowa are actually Latinos. So all of these candidates need to do a better job of addressing that community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go to you on the same question that I asked some other, I asked Beto this at the forum, Nina Turner. Why should black women choose an older white male candidate like Bernie Sanders, who isn't openly addressing issues of importance to the community, when they can choose a woman or even a woman of color? Those two options are on the table.
Well, Joy, he is openly addressing the issues that impact women of color, but people should vote for folks not just based on, they should vote for people based on who is going to be the biggest champion for their issues. And that is a myriad of ways to do that. When we talk about the hate crimes, we're talking about what just happened in San Diego in the synagogue. Nobody understands that as deeply, Joy, as Senator Bernie Sanders. His father came over here at the age of 17 years old to escape the Holocaust. There are people in the senator's family on his father's side that he never got a chance to meet because of Nazis who represent the ultimate white supremacists. So Senator Sanders will be the type of president who will appoint an attorney general who will bring the heat against white nationalism and hate crimes in this country. That lived experience informs him. He has the highest polling among Hispanic voters right now, among women, African Americans. So he does address it. He does understand the disparities within the disparities.
Low. Let me just, the latest polling, people are polling at 19 and 10 and 13%. I mean, this is all name ID at this point. Saying somebody has the highest polls is meaningless at this point.
No, it's not just name ID, but it's really getting out.
Okay. Joy, these polls are name ID right now. Let me get Marcus Ferrell in, because let me get Marcus Ferrell in.
He's been in South Carolina, Joy. I want to put that point out there.
All right, hold on. We need one voice. Marcus.
Get their message out. If Senator Harris gets her message out, what's going to end up happening is that it's going to be bigger than just actually saying things that you're doing for women of color. You're going to actually have a real woman and a woman of color possibly as your leader of the country. If these messages get out the right way and their campaigns do a good enough job getting it out, listen, people are feeling Senator Warren right now. People are actually listening to Senator Harris right now. In comparison to months ago where they were just sort of gaslighting the wall, this time they're real serious candidates. I'm particularly still waiting for some more issues to come out, but when it comes down to Vice President Biden and his criminal justice background, his crime bill stuff, and when it comes down to Bernie, which literally he is trying his hardest to get his message across to women of color, but it's not necessarily resonating. So whatever they want you to do, if they have a problem with you speaking about Martin Luther King, figure it out because they're the largest voters. If they have a problem with your hair, figure it out because they're the largest voters. At the end of the day, it's not on black women and women of color to try to figure out what candidates.
Let me let Jason get the last word here, since he's the one guy who's completely neutral because he's just covering this race. Do you see? I mean, you talked about. There is this dichotomy between what people say they want and what they're saying in the polls. Even though the polls, do you agree with me that right now the polls are mostly name ID? Nobody's getting even 40%.
Joy, nobody cares till after Labor Day, and that's during an election year. So, yeah, nobody should be jumping up and down and stunting on anybody about their poll numbers right now or even their fundraising. Not enough people are paying attention, which is why forums like She the People matter, because those people are influencers, and if you can't work with them, you're not going to change your message this fall.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate the spirited discussion. Marcus Ferrell, Nina Turner, thank you very much. Jason will be back in our next hour. More AM Joy after the break.